Hey guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and today I'm going to show you how me and my husband work together to build this garden bed with decorative trellis. So if you're ready to get building, let's go. My husband Danny loves tending a garden during the summer. Last year he grew squash, zucchini, and lots of pumpkins so that I had something to decorate the front porch with. But we don't have a functional tiller, and it was really difficult to work with this hard ground. This year, he asked if I'd help him build a garden bed for his squash to make things a little easier. I'm always up for building something practical, so we took a few hours this past weekend and put together this simple garden bed with a decorative trellis. The trellis was, of course, my idea. He probably wouldn't use it, but I thought it was pretty. So I'll show you how it came together here in this video. I've also got a step-by-step tutorial linked below as well. So let's get building. First of all, I want to address the wood type here. I'm aware that typical untreated pine boards are not weather resistant, but we chose to use them here anyway. I didn't want to build this with treated lumber because 1, I hate working with treated lumber, and 2, I'm not sure about the chemical stuff in my food. So we built this knowing that it'll probably need to be replaced in a few years. And I'm okay with that because it costs less than $100 and less than about 4 hours to build. So we built this bed about 5 foot wide and 8 foot long. Likely, we'll end up building another one because I'm not sure if it'll fit very many large squash plants, but I would say that it would be a perfect size for tomatoes. Anyway, after we cut our 2x12s to length for the bed box, we carried them out to the location that we wanted to put it in the yard and assembled it together with 3-inch wood screws on all the corners. Honestly, at this point, we could be finished, fill it with dirt, and call it a day. But I wanted to add a little trellis because, well, why not? So I cut some 2x4s about 5 foot long and screwed them into the center of the garden bed's 5 foot side. To save me several trips back and forth, I measured the distance between these 2x4s and started assembling the parts that would go here on the floor of my shop. Once I got everything cut and laid out like I wanted it, then I could take it all back outside to the garden bed to attach it. I was planning to top off the trellis with a pergola style top, so I didn't like the top of the frame here, the full 2x4 width, so I ripped it down to make some 2x2s. I was totally winging it here, and you could do any design that you wanted with any size boards that you wanted. Danny wasn't picky, but he also wasn't much design help, so I was just winging this on my own. I ended up ripping several 1x4s down into square dowels. To make things easier, if you didn't want to rip a whole bunch of boards, they do sell square dowel rods at the big box store. They're just more expensive. I had in my head that I really wanted a diamond design on this trellis. So I ended up putting a diamond in the center. I first cut my angles at 40 and 50 degrees, but I wanted a taller, skinnier diamond, so I went back to the miter saw and cut these to 30 and 60 degrees instead. Once I had the center design diamond thingy all cut like I wanted it, I began to cut to fit pieces to line the sides of the trellis. Again, totally winging it here, but I just laid out several vertical strips and then a couple of horizontal strips on top of it, and I kind of liked what was going on, so I just left it as is. Once I was happy with the design, I assembled the middle section, the diamond, and packed up everything to assemble on the garden bed. Again, I know this garden bed isn't going to last forever, so to keep things simple, I just glued and nailed the middle diamond design together. Then we headed back outside to finish everything up. We screwed the frame together first, then attached the diamond at the center. We evenly spaced the rest of the trellis design on each side and just nailed it in place. Since building and editing this video, This thing's withstood 60 plus miles an hour wind / thunderstorms on 2 separate occasions, and nothing is loose or damaged, so I think the nails are good enough here. Once the trellis was in place, I freehanded a design on the ends of the boards for the top and cut it out with a jigsaw. This is totally optional. I just liked the pergola-ish design here. Then we took them out and screwed them into the top. The last thing that I did to finish everything up was add a little lip around the top of the garden bed. I actually intended for this to overhang the outside of the bed, but I wasn't thinking when we screwed the bed together that I ordered 8-foot 1x4s and I also used 8-foot 2x12s. So there wasn't actually enough length on the 1x4 to overhang any of the 2x12. So I ended up having to overhang the inside of the bed, which is fine. It just wasn't my original plan. This was just for looks anyway, and it just made it look a little more finished, so it really didn't matter. But that's something that I wish I had thought of before this moment in time, because now I had to notch out the 1x4s to fit around the 2x2s on the short side. Again, not a big deal, just not my original plan. Once these pieces were screwed around the top of the garden bed, Danny was eager to put the tractor to work. When we built our garage house, we had some random piles of dirt left from when we put in the driveway, and we just kind of left them there in the yard, and eventually they grew grass and just kind of blended in. So Danny decided to dig into one of those piles to fill up the garden bed since we wouldn't miss that dirt. Now we just have a bare spot in the yard. Pros and cons. So at this point, my work here was done. Danny gets to take care of all of the gardening part because I'm kind of a black thumb. Mostly because I just kind of forget to water things. So I'm headed back to the shop. He's going to plant this one, and there may be another one added to the collection if he runs out of room. Time will tell. But in the meantime, I've got several more outdoor projects to finish up, so if you enjoyed this project and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy building!